Hey guys, so I'm back at home and had a great fishing trip, as you can see from my last video. I just want to show you guys how I fillet a pike so that it's boneless. The big thing with pike obviously are the Y bones, so you want to make sure you remove those carefully so that you have a nice experience when you're eating the fish and don't choke on the bones. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. Stay tuned. Alright, so here we have our pike laid out here. He's not a big guy, but he's enough, he'll have enough meat on there just to feed a person or two, so that's good. I'm not sure if a lot of people like eating pike. When I first had pike, I didn't really enjoy them simply because I found them very swampy in taste. But that just turns out that that's where I had fished that pike. This is from a really fast-moving cold water river. I tend to find their flesh extremely sweet, so they're really tasty, especially the young guys like this guy. So first of all, we're going to get started with a really nice sharp fillet knife. Definitely want nice and sharp so that you can make some good cuts and save as much meat as you can. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start behind the gill plate here. Be really careful. Cut yourself. Alright, and I'm going to kind of go up, cut down to where I can feel the rib cage. That. And then I'm just going to kind of go along here on the midline. Going to feel the ribs kind of as you cut through them. Forgive his wiggling. Just going to kind of go up and around this fin if you can. If not, you can just cut it off later. Just go up around that fin. And I just keep going. Cutting through the ribs here. Go along his back. There we go. Alright. So there's the first part there. See all the guts there? He's got a full belly. Alright. Just gonna flip him over. I'm not a crazy expert at this, so I probably won't get as much meat off as some of you guys would, but what can you do? Just try to right along here. Just gonna kind of cut up along here. Ugh, slippery. Should add some paper towels. Alright, so get rid of the entrails. Just gonna kind of rinse this for a sec. Okay, now just going to try to take the skin off. You want as much meat as you can, so I have a little bit of a downward angle to my cut. So I'm just peeling it right off of the scales. It's coming off good. There you go. Alright, so there you go. You can see now I've sort of taken the scales off there. I suppose you could roll these up and dry them out and turn them into a dog chewy or something like that. I don't have a dog right now, so this is just going to go and get composted. Alright, this fillet I didn't do as elegantly, so yeah, it might be a little bit messed up, but Probably should have left the fin on there for something to grab. Okay. Of course, the flies come out here as soon as you start working on something like this. All right, there you go. Let's get rid of that. And we'll wash the fillet. So now I've got the fillet. This is belly side down up here, and this is the back. So you can definitely feel the rib cage along here. So we're going to remove that. Also, these are the Y bones. You can kind of gently feel them up here on this young guy. They're not huge because it's a young, smallish fish. He's about a 20-inch long pike. So we're going to take out the rib cage first, and then we'll proceed on to the Y bones. All right, so you can kind of feel the ribs and gently, like a surgeon, dissect them out. So you're going to kind of go down and then just go along the bones, gently, kind of with smooth strokes. You can kind of lift up as you go to remove the rib cage. Take your time, there's no rush. And you can see how I'm kind of like picking this up to put a little bit of tension on it, just so you can kind of dissect it out. Just want to leave as much meat as you can, especially with these little guys here. They don't have a lot of meat on them, but enough. All right, there. So just gently kind of pull and you can kind of dissect. Great, so as you can see, that's the rib cage gone in the gut pile. Okay, so do another quick little rinse here. It's so hot, things are drying out on me. So now this is the belly here. Right here we can see, you can feel the Y bones with your fingers, okay? So they're kind of running all along the back here. So same idea, we're gonna kind of want to gently dissect them out, leaving as much flesh as you can on the fish, okay? So as you can see, you can feel the Y bones here with your finger. They kind of curve up this way. So again, just like a rib cage, we're gonna kind of dissect it along this plane right here, very carefully. Just right along them. And again, you don't want to go too deep, especially in the smaller pike, because you know they don't got a lot of flesh on them. So you sort of go through your feeling here. You feel them all along here. Eventually they kind of stop, so you'll feel that. Okay, so you've got the bottom part kind of dissected right here where they start, and they curve up like that. So now we're going to find out where they curve to. We're just going to go right along them here, and then kind of curve your blade up towards the fish's back, just delicately, like you're a fine surgeon. Nice and slow, no rush. Okay, so then you can kind of feel on your other cut here that it feels pretty boneless on the opposite side of it, and so you've got all your bones here in the cut. So then you just kind of gently dissect this way. You're just going to kind of pick them out. Like I said, it's harder in these smaller, younger ones. They don't have, the bones feel really soft and rubbery. The bigger guys is easier to feel because they're pretty sturdy. Nice and slow, make small little cuts. That way you don't end up losing more flesh than you intended. And then you can just kind of find out where they begin. And then gently, you can see how I'm just, again, putting a bit of traction on that just to kind of pull it up, and I can kind of see where I'm going. Just kind of using like a paintbrush like stroke. I'm just kind of picking them off. You see that? Just have your blade on this kind of an angle, right up to the bones. Let's go a little bit here. You can see where you need to kind of go over again just to kind of loosen up the bones. And there. They just kind of lift out. Good. So now you're left with a boneless section of fish, and you just wash it up. And we'll move on to the next one. Again, going to move the rib cage. All right. Just feel one little bone over here. I'm gonna grab. Go. All right, and again, you can kind of feel the Y bones sort of up here. All right, so we're just gonna kind of cut along the one side of them. Start angling upward towards the back of the fish. Backbone being here. Kind of feel that you're cutting along them. And here you should feel kind of boneless underneath if you're in the right spot. This is finicky work, like I said, in a young pike. Okay, so I've got that cut made. And then we feel where the other side of them are, right here. You angle up to the back. And you can see the bones here. Again, really important to have a nice sharp knife so you can see what you're doing. All right, then I just kind of pick this up and I dissect under it. It's just kind of mushy, eh? It's a little guy. You can feel that I'm lifting up these bones. Remember to try to keep as best you can the angle of your knife curving upward. Doesn't have to be too pretty for my purposes. I'm just going to bread this fish and pan fry it. So, I'm sure if you were serving it at a restaurant, you wouldn't be using something this small. And probably do a better job than me, but oh well. I don't do this every day, so that's why it's a little ramshackle. Okay, and there you have it. 2 boneless pike fillets. So you should be able to feel your finger along where you would expect the ribs and the Y bones and not feel your fingers grabbing onto any little sharp bits. If you do, you can always dissect out little ones you may have missed. Sometimes, like I said, it's harder in these little guys. I'm going to cut them up into maybe 3 sections each, I guess. And in my next video, I want you guys to stay tuned. We're going to be doing the pike in a Bisquick beer batter and fry them in that. So I think it's going to be really good. Nice sweet flesh. So now that our fish is filleted, I want to talk to you a bit about eating sport fish in Ontario. So one thing that we have in our fish, in our population here, is contamination. with various chemicals, largely due to the effects of industry over time on our fish populations and our waterways. The biggest concern for a fish like pike is it is a top predator. So what that means is it basically eats a lot of other fish and animals that also may have been contaminated by various chemicals. And it does get concentrated, the chemical does, up the food chain. So what we have here in Ontario, and I'm not sure if you guys have a similar eating guide to sport fish, you can let me know down in the comments. But what we have is a guide to eating Ontario fish. And this is the 2015-2016 edition. And I'll show you a little bit about it and explain how I use this guide. Okay, so here's the guide itself. And just sort of opens up, and it has a key to how to use the guide. There's lots of tables in here that I'll explain. Of course, the most important thing is for you to learn to identify what fish you just caught. So it's pretty neat. They have a color guide within this book. So there we go. For example, this guy, the northern pike, that's what I caught the other day. And it gives a general idea of sort of the length that you usually can find, the record in our province, what it looks like, similar species and habitat, and where and when it spawns. So that's pretty neat. So the next portion of this book are the consumption tables. So as you can see, there's lots of lakes and rivers listed. Not every single one is listed, but these are the lakes and rivers where the fish have been tested for various contaminants. And it tells us, how many we can safely eat in a month. So I'm going to go to where I caught this pike. Just going to go to that now. It's all listed in alphabetical. It's all listed in alphabetical order. Okay, perfect. So as you can see on this page here, it's the Madawaska River. That's where we caught the fish. So I'm just going to zoom in and show you a bit more about this table. So up here we have the size of the fish in inches, ranging from 6 inches all the way up to 30 inches here at the top. We're going to look at the river where this fish was caught, the Madawaska River. Right here you can see the different fish that have been tested for contaminants. So northern pike, smallmouth bass, and walleye. Again, those are the most popular sport fish that people would angle and eat in this lake. It's not an exhaustive list, obviously, of all the fish in there, but these are the fish of concern. They're top predator species. They have a higher risk of having the contamination, either with pesticides or mercury. So what we're going to do is we're going to look over here to northern pike, and the number that's listed here beside northern pike is number 1. And when you go back to the beginning of the guide, you'll see that that tells us the main contaminant they're worried about is mercury. Same with the smallmouth bass, and same as the walleye, as you can see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the species of interest that I caught, which is the northern pike. We're going to go up here to the size class, and I measured him from the tip of the nose to the tip of the tail. He was 20 inches. So if we slide down here, it's 20 inch down to northern pike, we can see 2 areas, one with a number 12 and one with a number 4. The number 4 is in a grayed out area, and what this means is the amount of fish you can eat per month if you're in a sensitive population. So we're talking about children under 15, as well as pregnant women. You're recommended to eat only 4 meals of pike per month, so that you do not have high levels of contamination with mercury. And the number 12 would be including people that are over the age of 15 who are not pregnant. Okay, so that means you can have 12 meals per month of the northern pike, and it would still be considered safe to eat them. Another thing to point out is that you should keep track of your total monthly intake. So, you can certainly catch fish in different size categories, but you need to track your consumption. So that's for people that eat a lot of our freshwater fish. So for example, for our pike, if we're in the population where we're not pregnant and we're above 15 years old, and we see that we get 12 fish meals per month, that would represent 1/12 of my monthly intake total. So that would be 8% of my monthly intake. So it just kind of all adds up to 100%. So if I ended up in a 2 fish per meal category, that would be half of my monthly intake. So I'd have to add 50 plus 8%. So then I would have had, say, 58% of my monthly intake total. So then, you know, I have to do the math on the rest of it if I want to eat more fish that month, so that I do not exceed 100% of my monthly total intake to be absolutely safe. So I hope I gave you guys a little bit more information today about eating sport water fish in Ontario and how you fillet and debone a pike. Alrighty guys, thanks so much for watching as always, and I hope you have a great week. If you liked today's video, don't forget to hit subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit thumbs up for more videos like this. Have a wonderful week guys. Until next time.